Wow, you got on there fast, John. John Reagan. Hello. I didn't even think it had actually kicked in yet. I'll probably have some of the same problems on this live stream as I did on a Periscope earlier for a lot of reasons. So bear with me on this, and I'll try to get as much out as I can to you and see if we can have a little discussion here. You know, one of these days, I'd like to maybe have it so that we can actually, talk, have call-ins and things like that. But so many people are doing that, I almost hate to steal their thunder. Not that I could, but well, hello everybody. I'd like to say hi to each and every one of you, but Roy, that's interesting. I'd like to say hi to each and every one of you, but that'll be a little difficult, of course. So let me say a few things. First of all, of course, this is the Potter Expositor, and I'm Roy Potter, and you're on YouTube at Roy Potter QA. And a lot of people have asked me why I've been using this gray background here, because it's kind of dull and it's not very interesting. Well, if any of you do any YouTube live streamings or any kind of video work, you may have noticed when I started doing live stream earlier on, I was using the Mac behind me and the camera couldn't focus because I'm using my phone, and these phone cameras just don't have the resolution or the ability to work ideally. So the next best thing is to get what they call a photo gray neutral background, and that's why I have this. So I know it's kind of boring, but hopefully it'll do the job. If I put it back to a background that has a lot of contrast in it, then the camera doesn't know where to focus. And I'm kind of out and about anyway, so this is called field expediency. Okay? And I'm sure some of you know what that is. I might as well open up by talking about the election in Alabama with Roy Moore and the Jones character. And it's still too close to call. Why is that? Why are these elections always so close? Well, it could be manipulations. It could be the fact that the mainstream media isn't telling the truth. Who knows? I don't really know. I expect that Moore will win with a good margin. At least we hope so, of course, under the circumstances. We could talk about all of the scandals and the accusations that are going on, but American politics has always been dirty, but at this point in time, it's almost juvenile. It's almost like watching a junior high school, election for. Well, actually, I think they're actually more respectable than what our national and local elections have turned into back in junior high. I thought they were bad, but wow. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. We definitely do need to have a Republican in there. And no, I don't believe all the accusations that have been made against Moore. The left and the New World Order and all these people, as most of you probably know, are trying to denigrate the man-woman relationship and make even that relationship seem ugly and wrong and sexist and rape and all that. And it just isn't. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but it's really getting out of hand. And of course, now they're attacking, again, President Trump with those same things. And, all it is, most people don't believe it, but they like to talk about it so that the people that aren't thinking, of course, will go along with whatever the powers that be tell them. And also it gives the deep state some cover to try to take some action against Trump. But the fact of the matter is, and that's why I named this video, or titled this video, Coup and Leftist Revolution Falter, because we're seeing some pretty dramatic things happening. And I think most of us are saying, man, it's about time, right? You're calling it for Jones, unfortunately, David Driscoll. Well, you could be right, at this stage of the game, it's hard to say, but I think if that happens, and it could, of course, if that happens, it'll be real bad for the country in a lot of ways. But at any rate, we'll get back on that maybe tomorrow after we know what's actually going on, because at this point, the mainstream media we can never believe. No matter what they tell you, you can't believe it. Even if they're telling you the truth, I wouldn't believe it. Okay? So anyway, here we are on the situation that's happening in the United States government at this point and around the world. I thought I'd start off with something that happened in just the last 24, 48 hours, something like that. And I talked about all of this pretty much on the Periscope until they cut me off. Now the Periscope got cut off tonight. So there's no guarantees that this won't get cut off too. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the former acting director and long-standing deputy director of the CIA, Michael Morell. Most of you probably know that he came out today. It's all over well, it's not all over the news, but if you go to some of the alt news sites, alt-right sites, and of course you can go to like True Pundit and those, and they have all the information that you need about what's happened here. Michael Morell basically has come out and said that he did something wrong by warning against Trump. He says he and the CIA were warning against Trump. Well, we already knew that, but he came out and actually admitted it, which was, pretty substantial for him to do that. And I suspect he didn't do it because he has a good heart. I suspect he was given an ultimatum. We have the same thing as I said before. We have this on you. We have this on you. We know you did this. These are probably charges of treason, sedition, corruption, and crimes of various types. Even going along with talking about killing the president, which of course I can't really say I heard Morell say that, although he was talking about overthrowing Trump in the election. But we have had people like Philip Mudd of the CIA, who also works for CNN, I think it's CNN, Clapper, Brennan, and Hayden, and a lot of others, call for Trump's removal, even by violent means if necessary. Of course, Gore said he'd be gone by the end of December, and so did Jeb Bush. Actually, Gore said he'd be gone earlier than this, but Jeb Bush said by the end of December. So this thing with Michael Morell coming out and admitting that this has happened is very significant, because it means that Trump, he's been warning against the CIA all this time. I know for a fact that this war between Trump and the deep state has been really serious, and there's actually been some shooting between the NSA and the CIA, and possibly even between the DOD and the CIA. There are a lot of these different things that are happening around the world. People are hearing booms and stuff like that. I can't verify that those are any kind of combats going on, in subterranean areas. I don't know that, but I really wouldn't put it past them. We saw the nuke site, remember, there in the mountains in North Korea. It just collapsed and killed like 200 people in there. I'm sure that was no accident. I'm sure that was a military operation on our part in some way or another. So it's very possible. But at any rate, the point is that there's this battle going on between the deep state, particularly the CIA and the administration, Trump, and all of that. So what happened to Michael Moore? He probably, like I said, was given an ultimatum he couldn't refuse, and decided he better canary up. And I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm not even saying he's for real. These spooks, they play both sides as much as they can. He's going to try to keep himself in a position where he can go with whatever side wins out. But either way, he's tainted himself now. Those in the CIA that are bad, they probably kill him at this point. And if he makes it in with Trump, Trump's not going to trust him, of course. So, like I said, he was put in a situation where he didn't have any choice under the circumstances. I also wanted to point out that Jerome Corsi now says that, and you know who he is, right? Jerome Corsi. He says that there's now evidence that the CIA had a role in Obama's phony birth certificate. Okay, so now there's even more hardcore evidence to that. And I thought it was interesting that Matt Bracken commented on that one and all of the other people that are involved in this coup. And Matt Bracken, I can't quote him directly, but it was something like, quote, "The coup is falling apart. Some of these rats are going to prison." Now they're trying to cut deals. So what's happening? Trump has made some huge steps forward. He attacked the CIA by attacking their drug facilities. their human trafficking facilities, their arms facilities, taking down ISIS, standing up to North Korea with essentially 3 carrier groups and then all of the ground troops. So that was a show of force. The show of force that he did, not at Langley CIA, but close by, about 180 miles away. He sent in the MEU there, the Marine Expeditionary Unit, which we talked about several times there at Naval Air Station Norfolk and at Langley Air Force Base. They may have had some flyovers of the CIA. I'm not even sure about that, but there certainly was no MEU on the Langley CIA grounds, as I've said. There is a possibility that Trump sent an envoy there of some Marine Corps officers or whatever to deliver a message, and I have no doubt that the NSA had somehow been able to hack the CIA computers, all of which probably lent to Michael Morrell deciding that he'd better fess up. I'm sure that all of that had something to do with it. And hopefully a lot more of those clowns, and that's what they are. They have messed up the world and the United States so badly. And there are different factions, of course, in the intelligence community that are fighting for this power. It's not like it's all one thing. It's just the whole thing is corrupt and a mess. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up. And also, along with all of that, Congress is expanding the Uranium One investigation. Now, we found out, of course, and Trump has been investigating this, as we know now. Believe me, I felt like I needed to kick him in the rear end, all the time up through just until about 3 or 4 months ago, because he just didn't seem to be doing anything. But it was all being done underneath. But I think the fact that we were vocal and saying, do this, it gave him, not that he didn't have his own decision made, but that it helped to give him more, I don't want to say confidence, more impetus to actually carry it out, because the American people really have to carry this, and I think we've all realized that. Trump is just the symbol, the figurehead. It's really up to us, and so that's why we need to be out there and constantly hammering that the right things be done, especially with these crooks, criminals, traitors, child traffickers, sex traffickers, et cetera, in the government, and all the rest of the corruption. And it's from the very top to the lowest parts, as I've said before. Anyway, so Congress is expanding this Uranium One investigation, this probe, and one of the lead senators, Senator Barrasso, who kind of went along with the Uranium One thing, but that's because, and I believe Barrasso, I think this is true, that Obama and the administration gave them information that the uranium wasn't really going to leave the United States, and of course it did. And so they're very upset about that. And of course, Obama lied to them, and so did the Obama administration. So this Uranium One thing, and I predicted this, when? Back in January or February, maybe even before, that the linchpin, dihydrogen monoxide, why are you putting that up there? H2O, water? That's all that is, right? I'm not sure what that was all about. At any rate, so this whole Uranium One thing had to do with the Malheur Wildlife Refuge in Oregon, the Hammonds and the Bundys there, and it also had to do with the situation at Bundy Ranch in Nevada back in 2014, and other places. The Red River, also something else in Texas, the situation in Wyoming, another mine in Oregon. There were a lot of these things that had to do with Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, all of that corruption working to sell our resources, especially our weapons-grade uranium, to other countries, specifically Russia, which, of course, anyway, you see the problem. And the real issue there was, of course, that the American people saw it, even though the government wouldn't stop it. And the American people, the Bundys, the Hammonds, all these people said, no, don't do this. Didn't get any redress of grievance. And so what do they do when weapons are pointed at them, which is what was happening? Well, they defended themselves against the tyrannical government. But the situation with the Bundy trials is ongoing. I think it started again today. And, that's I'm hoping that that before this gets too far, that that Sessions will have the guts to interfere with that and call for a dismissal, but we'll see. But my point of all that is that I brought up this whole thing with Uranium One and the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, and the EPA, and all of that, the FBI and the DOJ using that whole thing to steal the land from the people, and that the corruption was so bad that if Trump really looked into it, that would be a linchpin. I don't know if you remember me saying this, but this was back in January, February, March timeframe, somewhere in there. And I said that the Bundy Ranch deal and the Malheur deal would be the linchpin that would bring down a good portion of the deep state. And where do we find ourselves right now? Uranium One is it. Uranium One is going to be the thing. I mean, there's the Pedogate, there's all that other stuff, true. But there's hardcore evidence on the Uranium One and the transfer of funds and who is involved and all of that. And it's going to be the linchpin. It definitely is, as we're seeing. Okay, I'm going to jump to the U.S. Secret Service, because that's been playing a big part in some of the Coup, as some of you know, the Coup posts. And I'll have to remind some of you, Coup, Clarence Patriot on first 4chan and then 8chan, claims to be, and now we're starting to see a lot to back this up, a high-level cleared, a high-level top-secret cleared Q clearance person associated with the White House, and actually probably a team of people, either in the intelligence communities that are white hats or operating within the White House itself. And I'm not really prepared to say which it is, but the point is this Q person, Q group has been putting out information, some code, but some just to make the readers, the people that look at these posts, think and talk about it. And the whole point of it is to get people talking about the problems in the government. And it's been very successful at that. Okay, very successful. But Q brought up a couple of things last week. You saw my post, yesterday? Because on the 7th of December, I put up a video, and in it I said that, Soros was going to go down, that his time is short. Well, guess what shows up on the Q posts yesterday, right? And that is, they're going to have a nice special place for GS, meaning George Soros. So, we're right on top of this, and it's going to happen. As a matter of fact, it's in the process of happening right now. It's in the process. You don't see the stuff on Q unless things are well down the road. So anyway, Q brought up this thing about the Secret Service. And Tracy Beans, all right, she's a poster on YouTube. She also has a Twitter account. I've told you about her before, and a lot of you probably subscribe or watch her. She brought up that, the Secret Service, she looked at all of the things that it does. It doesn't just, protect the president. It also does things like, follow the money trail, counterfeiting, all kinds of things. But one that really surprised a lot of people was its association with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Wow. I didn't even know that. Now, she mentioned that, but she didn't really go there too far. Where she kind of hung out was that the Secret Service can arrest anybody without a warrant if they commit a felony in their presence. Well, okay, that's kind of the case with any law enforcement officer, but the point is that they're there watching the president. I'll just put it this way, the Clintons, the Bushes, the Obamas, you get my drift, and all the things that have happened there. The hot dogs, the $40,000 worth of hot dogs, all of the things that have been going on. Now, a lot of time the CIA or the Secret Service, Clinton would supposedly ditch his Secret Service detail when he'd get on the Lolita Express. I think that there are probably some Secret Service agents that are corrupted. As a matter of fact, I would have no doubt that there are, and that are probably CIA infiltrate, or people from the CIA that infiltrated it. Not all of them, of course, it's never the case, it's everybody, but there are probably enough of these corrupt, traitorous, treasonous, criminal agents in the Secret Service that they could have been covering for a lot of this. Bongino knew of it, but they didn't go public with it. Okay, well, there's got to be a time. Frankly, I don't know how, if they saw young children being abused, they didn't just blow the lid off of it anyway. they probably would have all been killed, but at least they wouldn't have hit it, right? But however you feel about that, the point is that the Secret Service has this responsibility for exploited children in their job description, okay, in their mission statement. Well, of course, that brings up another whole thing, which is what I was just talking about. No wonder if they have dirty agents that are involved in that, of course, they could help kids, just like false flags. You actually go do a real drill, or in this case, you actually go and help kids, but there are some that you bleed off. That's a bad term, maybe. There are some that you reroute and put into the pedophile community, the pedophile trafficking. And being this close to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they could do that real easy. Look at Haiti. Look at how Hillary Clinton did that in Haiti. Okay, and basically her minion got caught, at least in part of it. So what I'm saying is that yes, Tracy Beans is right about they could end up helping to arrest these corrupt presidents and family members of the presidents that the Secret Service protects. But I also think that there's this other side that there are some hanky-panky things going on, some criminal conduct by the Secret Service to cover up this misconduct by people like the Clintons and the Bushes and the Obamas, etc. So we'll see. The Office of the Inspector General for the Department of Justice, one of the, that's another thing. And I know I jump around a lot, but you'll see where this is going. All of us have been saying, what in the world is wrong with Jeff Sessions? Why doesn't he get off his duff and do something? And then, of course, we get this Christopher Wray in as the FBI director, and it looks like he's hemming and hawing around, right? So we're getting kind of upset, but then it came out that there's this OIG inspection going on. And several of the senators have talked about this, but it was low key. Well, that explains why Jeff Sessions said he couldn't talk about an investigation and why Wray wouldn't want to answer the questions directly either. But he would give enough information out. Senator Jordan was really good at this. Senator Jordan obviously knows what's going on, so he would ask the question to put that thought in the mind of the American people about, hey, what's this about this investigation going on of all these other things? See? It's a way to put. It's like what you do in a court. You put the information into the jury's mind. Okay, well then Wray said, and he's kind of playing along. I think this is really true. And he says, well, I can't talk about that, and everybody's getting mad about it. But the fact is, he can't talk about it. But Jordan brought it out into the public consciousness. You get it? You see how that works? Well, it was a very expert delivery by those two, and so I think the fact that the Office of the Inspector General probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks is going to pull the pin on the grenade, so to speak. I really think that's going to happen sooner than later. They'll probably wait until after the first of the year because of the Christmas season and all of that. But we'll see. Things are so bad right now. Of course, they're trying to go after Trump with these crazy allegations that he's a womanizer. First of all, what's wrong with that? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but if when he's married and he's taking care of his wife, that's one thing. But if he's out and about doing things, I mean, come on, abuse, that's something else. Groping, that's something else. But asking a woman for a date, or asking her for her phone number, or telling her how she looks, the political correctness of that is just getting way out of hand. So anyway, there are some problems there. But, and as Alex Jones said today, if you watched that, or maybe it was yesterday, he brought out the fact that the Democrats went after a lot of theirs to give cover to them now going after Trump, saying he should resign. And that's totally ridiculous. And of course, he's not going to do it. And if he did, he'd get the rest of us angry. So anyway, that's kind of where that is. And I wanted to bring that up. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here. I had some notes from the last time that I thought I might talk about with the Coup business. But, and Scott Anthony might even be on here. I haven't seen. Tracy Beans, basically what she does with the Coup information is she just puts it, down for you to have access to it, to look at it, to read it. And she might delve into it and maybe do a little evaluation, a little decoding, but not a whole lot. However, Scott Anthony has done quite a bit, as have some other people. And I would like to talk about his information, but I think I'd still rather wait until he gets it on his blog, if in fact he can. And I'm not telling him he has to, of course, but that would be a good thing, so everybody could go to that. So we'll see. But I do want to remind you again that the basic concepts in Q, both on 4chan and on 8chan, is that the military intelligence people are the ones that are running this, and that would also include their private military contractors like Eric Prince, and other military people and others that Trump has brought into this team that I think has already been operational in the White House for some time, but now is getting some public disclosure on it. So at any rate, that's another thing that's going on there, and I kind of wanted to just remind everybody that the Q thing again is about the military intelligence being able to take over from the three-letter agencies, the FBI, the CIA, the ATF, the DEA, et cetera, et cetera. They can basically, especially when it comes to human intelligence and signals intelligence violations. Their mission, their authority is right on. And of course, this whole thing with what's happened against Trump has been a violation of our signals and human intelligence. And so the MI can definitely come in. Okay, so I wanted to bring that up. And that's kind of the entire thrust of Scott Anthony's expose on all of this from Q. A lot of detail in there because we're watching it happen, and there are a lot of details that are going on, but that's basically the crux of it. Okay, so I'm still going to wait on that, and maybe we don't even have to cover it that much anymore, but I just wanted to make sure that I told you that I was still watching for it. We might also talk about the Las Vegas shooting real quick. As you can see, the FBI, even under Wray, is still not saying anything. Sheriff Lombardo, if he's not a puppet, all he has to do is he's definitely a puppet. There's no doubt about it. I knew that back during the Bundy Ranch thing, and it's obvious now. But the bottom line is there are a lot of good investigators, independent investigators who have looked at that, and I've mentioned all those before. I won't do it a whole lot again. Shepard Ambulis, Jake Morphonios, of course, Scott Anthony's done a lot. Anyway, there are a bunch of people out there that have looked into that and have shown that this was not a single gunman, that this had to do, again, with the Saudis. It had to do with, and now we're even looking at the possibility of another mercenary group. I don't want to say it right now, but there's a possibility there may have been another one there on top of all the other things that were going on. And Abel Danger has said that it's very likely that this was also, it wasn't just part of the coup in Saudi Arabia, it wasn't part of the ISIS attack on America, it wasn't just part of the attempted assassination of whoever was there. We believe it was President Trump and also the Prince of Saudi Arabia. But it may also have another possibility, and that is a Serco. It's an international corporation. Some of you might know about this. Serco running a bet on how many people would be killed in this type of an operation. In other words, a high stakes gambling where they actually hunt human beings. Abel Danger has touched on that, so I just wanted to bring that up. The evil that's in our government and in our upper echelons, well, everywhere really, of corporations, the powers that be, the deep state, the intelligence communities, all of that, the triangle that Trump is trying to take down, of the evil people, the Rothschilds, the Saudis, which are now pretty much under control, and of course Soros and the leftists that he's working on now. These are all very evil people, and it's my contention that it is a chasm and a rift that cannot be healed. Okay, the evil is turned to be so evil, and the good looks at it and says, "Wow!" And I'm not saying that we're perfect, all right, but look what happened to Owen Schroyer of InfoWars when he went to cover the Kate Steinle memorial down there in Austin, Texas. They're having a memorial for a woman that was killed by an illegal immigrant, right? And these Antifa show up there with shields, clubs, masks, and semi-automatic weapons. And look what they did to Owen Shore. They basically, beat him up a little bit, assaulted him. The way that the weapon was used that I saw there, it's probably questionable as to whether or not it was a brandishing or an assault. But certainly the words and the actions by those around there would certainly have concerned me. So they've shown what they would do before. They aren't peaceful. You look at the Bundy Ranch situation where the BLM had already brought out these weapons of war against unarmed people initially, and then armed people came up to exercise their Second Amendment. But it wasn't something that they did to be nasty. It was something to protect them from the abuses of the government. Well, now Antifa is being used by the leftists in government and at the universities and all those places to cause violence and fear. And that's how the Bolshevik Russian communist revolution of the early 1900s worked, and they're trying to do it here. I don't think that they're going to be able to push it very much further because a lot of vets have just about had it. And Trump's keeping a lid on it, but at some point, if they really do get violent, if Antifa and the left gets violent, it will turn real fast. I think you'll see that. California fire suspicious. I've seen some comments on that, and this is what I'll say about it. The war against human beings, against mankind, has taken a lot of interesting turns, and that's really what it is. And I've seen some of the pictures there. Of course, we have several friends that live out there. You see Pam Jones for Liberty, who's very big in this whole chemtrail, geoengineering business, and the fires there in California. And I put a video out some time ago about the forest fires burn at about 14 to 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. Steel doesn't melt. Tempered glass doesn't melt until you get up around the 2500 degree Fahrenheit to 2700 degree Fahrenheit range. And the only thing that would get those areas that hot would be something like a direct energy weapon. So, whether or not that's what's really happened there, it does look suspicious. And I wouldn't doubt it a bit if rogue elements are warring against the people in California, because it's part of the 2030 agenda. So it's very possible. I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them at all. Okay, let's see. Anything here that I can answer? Sorry, I'm a little tired tonight. You can probably tell, but I did that Periscope, and I really wanted to come on here and let you guys know that I'm still working on things. Yeah, send the Marines and Jesus in. Yeah, the Marines and Trump's personal teams that he's set up. Yeah, they're getting ready. They're getting ready. There's no doubt about it. And of course, I mentioned that thing again about George Soros. They're going to take George Soros out here pretty quick. I think his days are numbered for sure. And maybe his son, there's Alex Soros, and then I forget the other one's name, but both of them are a problem. So who knows? Cody Snodgrass. Yeah, he was the Snodgrass, I guess. He's talked about some things. He was Special Forces at one time. I haven't seen all of his information, but what I've seen looks pretty good. Yeah, what I've seen looks pretty good. Okay, let's slow this down a little bit here. Yes, it is the 12th of December. Remember in one of my live streams I said, I don't say Happy Halloween in September. I don't say have a good 4th of July in June or May, right? So I wait until, we're well into it, and we are now. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, and I hope that you have a wonderful time with your family, loved ones, friends, all of that. Robert Soros, thank you, Shane. Yeah, that's the other one. Great. Okay, that is who Dave Hodges says is on the fires. Is on the fires. Are you talking about Snodgrass there, Moki7? Is that who you mean? That he's aware of what's going on with the fires? Maybe that's what you're talking about there. I'm sorry I didn't quite catch that. All the military has Trump's back if CIA try to kill Trump. No, I don't. I don't. This is a good question. Tactical Canyon Slayer. No, the military's been infiltrated by the CIA and the intelligence community as well. A lot of it on purpose. Okay, a lot of it's on purpose, but there are also going to be black ops people from the intelligence agencies in there, who are, by the way, the ones responsible for killing Pat. Daggone, like I say, it's too late here. You'll know who I'm talking about. So there's no doubt about that they were involved in that. So I don't think we can depend on everybody in the military. As a matter of fact, there'll probably be an internal fight there if it gets to a shooting war. But I think the majority, certainly almost the entire Marine Corps, but the majority of the people in DOD will, I think, make the right decision. But that still remains to be seen. But hopefully that'll be the case. Okay. When are you going to do a show on government moving to Denver? Yeah, they've got a lot of underground stuff there in Denver. Yeah, and they've been working on it for 20 years now at least. I saw it when they were first digging up that whole area under the new airport. So yeah, the stage is all set. You're right, Auntie. Adam Schiff is married to a Soros. I saw that today, as a matter of fact, and I don't know that for a fact, but it looks like it's a very good possibility. Yeah, it's a good possibility. Yeah, why does Kushner have business ties with Soros? That's one of the reasons why I've been on Trump. Okay, that's a lot of people will say. Matter of fact, I got a comment on Twitter today. I think it was today. Because a lot of people are, putting out disinformation, misinformation, character assassination, all that. And a lot of people on me, a lot of people have come to my defense. But then this one guy wrote in and said, we're not haters. We're just upset that you're saying that Mueller, who is a traitor, might be actually helping Trump. Well, apparently somebody isn't watching this very close, because I've said I don't trust Mueller, however you say his name. I don't trust him. He's a gray area. But it is possible that with this whole thing with the office of the Inspector General and the other things that Trump set up beforehand, that Mueller, like Michael of the CIA, was given an offer he couldn't refuse. It's very possible. Or he might say, I don't want the country to go to hell after all. I don't know. But I'm not on Mueller's side, put it that way. But I see the same thing with Kushner, basically. I have a lot of questions about Jared. I can't really insult him, even though sometimes I would like to. But no, I don't trust him. He's done enough already that I don't trust him. And I think that, honestly, Trump probably realizes that too, to some extent. So, okay, yeah, Cody Snodgrass, that's the one. China owns California. A lot of it, almost all the ports. Yeah, that's true. All right, military take control of three. Yeah, the military intelligence, I think. I'm not sure they've taken control of the three-letter agencies, but they've basically taken over the responsibilities that some of those agencies would normally claim. I think that's how. Merry Christmas again to everybody that's saying that. Thank you very, very much. And Hanukkah, yeah, Hanukkah. I think that started today, didn't it? I think Hanukkah started today. Why isn't anyone talking about all the indictments anymore? What are we up to? 12,000 something now? I think all of us realize that they're rolling this thing up. They're starting at the bottom. It's just like combat out in the field. You roll the outside units up first. You might hit the command and control centers, yes, and that's happened. Basically, that has happened with the NSA going after the CIA and those types of things. The command and control has been attacked of the deep state, but you have all of these troops out in the field that you really got to take care of for two reasons. One is because if you pass by them on the field of combat, they can shoot you in the back. You understand that? The second thing is you use them for intelligence information. We have all this information that the OIG has from the top, from the investigations that have been done at that level, and now we have and the NYPD and all that, and now we have this other side coming up from the bottom. It's basically an intelligence operation, just like on a field of combat. It's a pincer movement. It's a double envelopment, okay, an encirclement, and basically what it does is it provides you, number one, it's a timed sequence of events so that you can anticipate what the enemy's going to do, usually if you do that. And the other thing is that somebody brought out that I think is real good is that the courts right now are still really corrupt, okay? And if this information was presented to like the Ninth Circuit, what are they going to do? They're not going to back up the American people. They're going to go with the deep state. The way around that, of course, is to get these new judges into position, which Trump is trying to do still. But also, as we've said before with this entire thing with the military intelligence people, if the arrests are made based on those human intelligence, signals intelligence, treasonous type operations, then that can go into the military justice system. To me, that's not ideal, but the enemy, the deep state, the Clintons, the Podestas, Chucky Schumer, all these people have really left us with no choice. Hillary would have done it. If she had gotten in, she would have done it, but for the wrong reasons, for her own power, to destroy people, to take away our God-given rights protected by the Constitution. That's what she would have done with it. Remember, I talked about it a long time ago. Righteousness means the right use of something. A screwdriver, well, let's use a pen, all right? A pen's used for writing. That's the right use of it. But you could stab somebody with it, right? But if you stab somebody with this in self-defense, is that a right use of it? I think so, wouldn't you? So you see, there are other matters here that you have to consider, all right? Made a great connection. Yeah, powers of arrest. Tracy Beans made a great connection with that. I talked about that earlier. Merry Christmas again. What do you know about the Rothschild front? They're in trouble. We're seeing, as a matter of fact, Coup told them the other day just to shut up, okay? Don't come there anymore. They're going down. They're in the process of that right now, which I suspect will also bring in the Queen of England and some other people. The big target right now, I think, is shifted to Soros. Maybe even Obama himself at this point. Adam Schiff's going down. He was mentioned in Q as well. It was in a code. You'd have to see it to know what I'm talking about, but basically it said that he'll be revealed, and that kind of came out today. Okay, it was a code. It said AS reveal, but we're pretty sure that that's supposed to be Adam Schiff. At first I thought it might be Alex Soros, but the context of the Q posts definitely make it to be Adam Schiff. So he's about ready to he might even be charged with treason. I mean, it's that bad. It's that bad. Merry Christmas again. What info on martial law? That'll go along with the same thing I said a few minutes ago about the right use of something. I don't want to see that. But you might, in a situation where you have think about it. The Pentagon hit on 9/11. The day before, Rumsfeld said that the DOD was missing $2.3 trillion, and then everybody forgot about it after 9/11. That was just then. They're figuring right now that the CIA and the deep state has, probably in the neighborhood of $15 to $20 trillion worth of money that they can operate on. So if you're going to fight something like that, you might have to shut things down to clean house. And that's why I say it's not an ideal situation. I don't like that. But if Hillary had done it, it would have been to destroy us. I honestly believe, with everything that I've seen, that if Trump does it, it's to save us. because it's the only way. And I've called for it how many times? That the military has to attack and take down the CIA and destroy it, the intelligence community and the deep state. That's what I mean when I say that. There really isn't any other way. There really isn't. So basically, that's why I say prep, pray, and stay out of the way. Okay? What else are you going to do anyway? That's really where we are. Okay? So let's just see what happens. More lost. Yeah, well, that's not a good thing if he did. I'll say that. Okay. I haven't killed any snakes with a 44 Magnum lately. Really? Yeah, my. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else here. I don't know who the liar is for. I'll just let that go. At the full somebody already asked that. Do I believe the full military will support Trump? No. No, it's gonna break up in the military too, but I think by and large they will. Okay, by and large they will. Yeah, Robert Soros may in fact be married to Adam Schiff's. I think Adam Schiff is actually, well, anyway, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Robert Soros is married to somebody that is close in there. You know, they're all intermarried anyway, right? Okay. Bitcoin, I'm not a financial guy. I'm not even going to go there. Yeah, follow the wives. That's right. Q did say if you want to know what's going on, follow the wives. What are they doing? Oh man, they're wearing, occult information. Necklaces, bracelets, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so very likely that's a good thing to do. Pay attention to what they're doing. It'll give you an idea. 44,000 missing soldiers. Yeah. What's funny about that? When I was going through officer training, before I was commissioned, the big thing in that is accountability. You have to be able to keep track of where each one of your soldiers is at all times. You can't ever not know where your people are. That's a mortal sin, all right, to not know where your people are. And yet, the Pentagon can't figure out where 44,000 of their people are or went or whatever. There's no excuse for that. I don't care how big you are. There's no excuse for that. They're hiding something is what I'm saying, okay? Let's see what else we have here. Do I really think Mueller's on Trump's side? I've already covered that. I think he's in a gray area. I think he's been given an offer he can't refuse, which is you can go to Gitmo or you can help me out. That's how I would do it. I could be mistaken, but under the circumstances, think about it. Everybody wants to jump on me, these people that were complaining about me earlier on Twitter, that they don't hate me. They just don't like me because I think that Mueller's helping Trump and that's going to cause a martial law thing against us. Look, I'm not the one that's keeping Mueller on. It's Trump, okay? And he can't fire him because they'll use that. I mean, he could legally, but they'll use that against him, right? But the point is, he even says he's doing an okay job. Look, Trump's in charge of that, okay? And there's nothing any of us can do about it. We just have to be able to look at the details as best we can and to be ready for the consequences, okay? That's what we've got to do. The way that Tracy Beans, Scott Anthony, Imperator Rex, who is on Twitter, Thomas Wichter and I butted heads on some things in the past, but on this, all these people, I think they've hit on something, and that is that Trump got some of these people early on and told them what they were up against with this enemy combatants charge, and basically told them, you help us out or you go to Gitmo right now. I really honestly think that happened. And so when I look at the details about the Mueller investigation and what's happened here, this whole thing with, the deal with Trump, they're using with Trump Jr. They're using a lot of this intelligence information now. I don't know if you realize this. I think some of you do. That they're doing this leaking on purpose because, let me back up a little bit. General Flynn knew that he was going to be in combat with the deep state. Look what he did when he was working for Obama, which got him fired. He basically said, "Hey, our government's helping ISIS. We set them up. We're ISIS," is basically what he was saying. So Obama outed him, right? Well, when Flynn went into the White House, he knew that he was a target. Okay, there was a colonel back during the Vietnam War. Well, he was a captain at the time, maybe a lieutenant, and his name was Pete Dawkins. I worked for Colonel Pete Dawkins when he was a colonel. He was a brigade commander when I worked for him. And Pete Dawkins was being overrun during the Tet Offensive, and he called artillery fire onto his position to keep the enemy from getting through to their final objective. Well, that's kind of what Flynn has done. Some people say he's fallen on the sword or whatever. The point is he's called for fire on his position. So in that process, he brought some people in that he was able to do what Obama did. Obama had left behinds. Well, Flynn did the same thing. And these left behinds that he was able to get in there all had the same clearance that I had. Top secret, sensitive, compartmented information access. With that, they've been able to do a hunt. They've been able to hunt down these leakers. Dina Powell. Isn't it interesting? She just left a little while ago. Did you notice that? Okay, so this is happening. So in other words, all of this, there's so much going on both sides right now that you really can't get a good picture unless you back away from it and look at it, at all the possibilities. And even that's going to be tough. And in this situation with Mueller, to answer the question again, I don't trust Mueller, but I think he's in the gray area. He would go with whoever wins. But I think Trump is winning. Okay? I think that's real obvious at this point. And so, like Michael Morrell of the CIA, he's not going to want to get himself in any more hot water than he already is. Okay. Yeah, they are already killing us. And everybody's telling me that more lost. Well, and Pat Tillman, thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. I don't know why I forgot his name. Like I said, it's been a long day here. I was actually thinking of Patrick Buchanan, and I knew that wasn't right. Pat Tillman, thank you very, very much. Great American, great soldier, great patriot. He was in the process of telling his family what he was seeing over there with the Afghanistan poppy fields and what the CIA was doing with shipping the drugs and all of that. And the CIA killed him. Yeah, so Pat Tillman, wonderful man. Wonderful man. Okay. Hello, BP Earthwatch. Oh, is he here? I didn't see him. Oh, good. Yeah. Like I say, it's been a long day for me, so I'm probably not communicating too terribly well here. I am a little upset that Moore lost, if in fact he did, because that's going to put a lot of strain on Trump's agenda and some other things. I don't know what to say, other than and really, whether the United States is saved or not depends on the people. And as you know, I think most of you know, that I don't have a whole lot of faith in the majority of Americans, even the good ones. And the reason why is because we've become too apathetic. As I said in my video here the other day when I was outside at the Freedom Shrine, it says, "We the people." The people are the ones that are responsible for the way their government goes. And they've just been too apathetic and too lazy. And now you have an entire society almost at various levels that's become so corrupt and denigrated that it would take a lot for it to repent. And maybe we're not up to it. And if Moore didn't get elected, that's kind of proving that, as far as I can see, that the American people aren't deserving of this help in breaking away from the demonic forces that are trying to control them. It's almost like they thirst for it. Get things for free, take advantage of other people, take their money, by force, vaccinate your kids so they become zombies. send them off to unjust wars. The music industry, Hollywood, all of that. We're the United States. It's almost like ISIS was sent as a judgment against us, but in the end, it might just be that we destroy ourselves after all, and that's kind of looking that way. If this thing with Moore continues to go across the country, if that's the shift again in Alabama, for Pete's sake, whoa, bad news, bad news. So get close to God, you know. There's a statement that I quote quite a bit. I didn't originate this statement, but I use it a lot because it's really true. And I'll change it a little bit. And that is that I will stand by principle even if nobody else does, even if I'm the only person to do it. And unless we all have that in our hearts. And of course, the evil side has their principles that they think are just. Well, I don't really know if they think they're just, but they pretend like they think they are. Okay. Hi, no, Earthwatch, much love. Okay. Sorry, I guess I do miss some of these things. CIA equals Bush, Clinton's, Obama. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Sergeant Moose is saying that Moore lost, which is not a good thing. And again, the indictments, we don't know completely, but they're using it at this point to roll up the people on the bottom, okay? And that's just what you do in combat. That makes a lot of sense. They've hit the command and control areas, like I've said, you know, the OIG inspection, the situation with what Flynn left behind to find the leakers, you know, going after command and control, Trump going after the CIA, bombing the drug facilities, you know, North Korea, those kinds of things. But at the same time, you got to roll up those troops on the bottom so that they don't come and shoot you in the back. So that's what they're working on right now. I think we're going to see some things change here probably pretty quickly. Okay. Here, Trump confirms able danger exposure of extortion cameras in hotels globally. Who is this? C.C. Brown. Yeah, Field McConnell. Thank you for that information. Okay, I hear the Army's infiltrated too. Oh yeah, certainly. Look at the lieutenant that came out of the United States Military Academy. You know, he's a full-on Marxist. You know, was calling for Trump and right-wing people, Republicans, to be killed, and he had a shirt on of Che Guevara. Okay. Yeah. Again, this thing is going just like this deal in Alabama. I'm sorry if that's in fact what's happened, and I don't know. I'm talking to you all. I'm just watching what's happening here, and everybody's saying that Moore lost. Okay? This is a division. This country's been divided, and Obama planned it that way. The deep state planned it that way. The cabal planned it that way. The New World Order planned it that way. Unfortunately, it's going to come down to a real fight. It's really looking that way, and that's not a good thing for any of us. It's not good. So it very well could be that the Green Berets will start going after people. Yes, Pat Tillman again, thank you. I feel really bad that his last name skipped me there, but I don't know why Buchanan kept popping in. It's just, oh gosh, it's crazy, you know. All right, let me see if there's anything else here. Hi, Roy from Colorado, Rocky Mountain High. Yeah, 44,000 missing troops, underground security. Who knows? It could be, you know, and they don't want to report on it. It could very well be. I'm not certain. Yeah, there are like 200 underground bases. I'll just verify that there are a lot of those. Okay, I told him if he is okay. Good. I'm glad you told your son that morning, Glory. Thank you. Oh yeah, Roy, you need to explain to Antifist wearing AR-15 what the reality is if he ever uses it. I must have missed the comment here, but the guy that I saw harassing Owen Schroyer yesterday, yeah, they're playing with fire. Absolutely, they are. And if the vets ever get riled up to the point where you know they actually start to take these people on, it's going to be a bad deal for the leftists. and the Antifas. Okay. Melissa Schiff married to Soros. There you go. Divorced. Okay. No kin to Adam. Thank you, Dixie. Yeah, I had heard that. I wasn't sure of the context. I did hear about some similar names there, but yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay, this is a good one. Are the explosions that are being heard around the U.S. then blowing up the DUMBs and child traffic tunnels? Uh, the CIA and the NSA started a fight last January or so, and I called attention to it in one of my videos. There was actually a shooting on the street not far from Trump Tower at a CIA NSA confrontation there. So, there is a war going on in the government. How big and how extensive it is, we're only seeing the surface of it. We're seeing the tip of the iceberg with all this political baloney happening at the top. I have no doubt that there aren't some serious things going on below the surface. And like I said, the North Korea deal is evidence of that. And Trump did take out, I am certain, that one nuke facility in the mountains where the whole thing collapsed. I'm sure of that. So, yeah, and that's CIA. So, yeah, it could very well be. Yeah, no, okay, yeah, Adam Schiff isn't married to a Soros. Yeah, that's just what we're talking about here. The Schiff daughter is Marie to Robert Soros. Okay. All right. Like I said, I haven't looked into that much. All I know is Adam Schiff is a piece of, yeah, just change the last letters in his name and you got it, right? Okay. John Elway is a reptilian. Some of you people, you have some really good humor here. I can't. This is the second time I've seen this. Maybe are you LDS? No, I'm not. I used to be, but I'm not now. They wouldn't have me. Okay, they just wouldn't have me. It was part of my earlier scriptural training, searching, I guess you could say, and I've been through a lot of that. That's why a lot of people want to talk to me about the Bible and about scripture and about history, biblical history, and all of that. I know a lot about it. I'm friends with, well, it's an acquaintance now. I haven't seen him in a number of years, but Robert Eisenman, who is one of the foremost scholars in the world on the Dead Sea Scrolls, he actually gave a review of my book, The Crimson Thread. So the point is I'm very well versed in a lot of these things, especially Judeo-Christian topics, along with the Quran, Islam, and the events of particularly the first century in Judea and Palestine, and about a century before and about 2 to 3 centuries afterwards. So, I know a lot about that. Yeah. And my searching in my earlier years helped me to understand those things. I think Trump is saying that he's giving us Christmas presents. Q is saying Merry Christmas with these things that are going on. Trump is saying it in his speeches. I anticipate that some more big things will happen prior to Christmas, but I don't see the big takedown happening until after the first of the year when the Office of the Inspector General out of the Department of Justice gives his report. And then that'll set Wray and Sessions free to go after everybody, along with, and again, military intelligence people, I think right now are making the cases. They've got, as I said in the video that I made last December 7th, just last week, they're taking names, they're checking them twice. They know where they are. They know their habits. Even Q said at one point, talking to the Rothschilds, we know your every move. We can even hear you breathing. Okay, so this is really serious stuff, and there's a lot of that going on right now. The intelligence game is the maneuver on the battlefield, okay, to get your position, to try to get the high ground. Okay, that's what we're seeing here right now. And Trump can't be premature as much as we want him to, and as much as I want him to. You've heard me for, 9, 10, well, geez, almost a whole year now saying, Trump, you got to go on the offensive. You got to go on the offensive, And yet I do understand that he had to prep. He had to get things in place. The courts being one, which still aren't quite there. And again, as I said earlier, unless of course they decide to go with the military tribunals under the reason of the attacks by the deep state people like Morell and like Mueller at one point, certainly like Clinton and Podesta and those folks, Hayden, Clapper, Brennan, all using those things against the government of the elected government of the United States. They became enemy combatants. The military has been on alert of various types over the last several weeks. I don't know if you know that or not. I talked about it about 2 weeks ago when they went on. Of course, then we saw the whole thing with Korea, and right now I did another quick update where I showed that the drill was going on there in Korea, the largest of its kind that's ever happened, and that right after that, the Koreans asked for talks. Okay, so that show of force was the same kind of show of force that Trump did again at CIA Langley, where he had the Marine Expeditionary Unit at NAS Norfolk and at Air Force Base Langley. There is a war going on. There's a real, honest to goodness war going on. There really is. Mossad's involved in this, of course, at some point. I know of one specific instance, and so I know for a fact that they're out there. By the way, I'm going to say this here now. There are a few people that might be watching that will know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say a lot of it. Alex Jones has been accused of being, an Israeli Mossad guy, or behind the Vatican or whatever. I don't believe that under the circumstances. I just don't. Plus, the people that he has working for him are some of the best I've ever seen. So I'm not talking about him. But there are individuals out there in what I will call the alt-right independent media that at this point in time, what they're doing is they're building people's confidence in them. Okay? And at the opportune time, either when they're told to act or whatever, if their basic orders, let's put it that way, they will suddenly turn on some issue and bring their loyal followers along with them and try to set the subject matter for discussion throughout the country, especially on the conservative side. There is that going on right now. I've already seen it. I've already verified it. But it's not Alex Jones. Okay? All right. I'll just leave it at that for right now. The DOD audit. Yeah, it's about time. That's going to be a good one. Okay. Yeah, it's been an hour and almost 10 minutes now. Okay, he's upset people are awake. I'm not sure I know who that was about. Okay, Ditch Mitch. All right. Yeah, of course not. Trump's a family man. I like this. Look up, he's coming. Trump can't really come out and say that he doesn't like his son-in-law. Of course not, and I wouldn't expect him to. There was some speculation by, and I really like Dr. Pachinik, but sometimes, again, he and I'll butt heads on certain things, and I'll bow to his professional career and his training and his education and all of that. But I've butt heads with 3-star generals before, so there are limits to my willingness to submit. And he basically said that this whole move inside the White House was to go after Kushner. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that's what it was. It was to find these other leakers, is what it was about, like Dina Powell and those things. I think Trump would like to send, in my own opinion, I think he would like to send Kushner, back to New York. But whether or not that happens, I don't know. I would hope he would. McMaster, no, I still don't trust McMaster. And I think anybody who has watched him knows that that's a bad deal. Trump is playing 5D chess. Well, sometimes I think that's the case, and then other times I'm going, what the hell? I like the fact that Trump is confident and that it's obvious that he has a game plan. But I wouldn't go so far as to say he's playing 5D chess. There have been some real bad mess ups. I'm going to show you one that's real obvious to you. The shooting in Las Vegas. If you're playing 5D chess and really under control of things, that would not have happened. Okay? It just wouldn't have. So I can't believe that. I'm not saying he hasn't got a plan. I'm not saying that he isn't executing it in a very superior manner. But he's not all knowing. No, he's not. Not in the least. Yeah, Mueller investigation of the honeypot for Clinton operatives. I think that's a good way to put it, Walter. I think that's a good way to put it. And of course, with us talking about it, it's getting out there. And you'd think, well, you wouldn't want them to, right? You wouldn't want the leftists, the people that are fighting against Trump, you wouldn't want them to know that Mueller's really on Trump's team or has been convinced to work for him, right? You would think that would be bad to do. But from 2 points of view, it's an excellent thing to do. The first thing is the left thinks we're crazy, right? Okay? So they underestimate us. And the second thing is that when they do that, it's a psyop against them, that they haven't got a chance. So it's kind of both things at the same time. So it's really kind of an interesting thing to watch. Lieutenant Colonel, what do us citizens need to watch for if they try to take Trump out? Ooh. Well, the object is to return the United States to a world government status, to no constitution, to no Bill of Rights. And I'm going to say this here, even though it's politically incorrect, because it was a subject of the secret societies in the 1800s. White genocide, that's a fact. Okay? And there are reasons for that, which I'm not going to go into here. But you'll see all that. Obama was setting it up with the Black Lives Matter, with La Raza, with allowing the immigration to come in. And again, I'm not against other people, but it's the method in which it was done and the types of people that they were using. Okay? Go look up the San Diego plan. Have you ever looked at that? Just look it up, San Diego plan, okay? La Raza supports that, and basically it's to get rid of white people. Well, why is it that, we're supposed to be multicultural, but now we're going to exclude the white people? It's obvious. And if you understand what was talked about in these secret societies, there's a reason why they want to basically have a white genocide across the planet. With the exception of the elite. There's a reason for that, and I'm not going to go into it here, okay? I just don't want to. Apparently there's some kind of an argument going on about Mormonism. Look, Mormons are okay people, okay? I just didn't like their leadership. Leadership of the Mormon church is corrupt. I'll just say it. They're corrupt. They lie, and they take it out on the little people, and yet they do whatever they want. It's sort of like the politicians. They tell you that you got to get you can't do insider trading, but they can. That's the kind of thing that I ran into, and I don't have any use for that. Okay, I don't care about that. But the Mormon people generally are okay. It's not really a cult. A lot of people think it is. That's not what it is. But they do have what I've called, some of you may have heard me say it, leaderitis. They think that their leaders are infallible, kind of like the Catholics are supposed to believe in papal infallibility. No man's infallible. I don't care who they are. Okay? There was only one. Only one. All right? So, I'm not going to sit there and bow down to somebody who demands that I obey their every utterance. I'm just not going to do that. So they threw me out. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And there was a very dear friend of mine who's probably here watching this. You guys watching it there, you know who I'm talking about. Lived behind me back in, got me involved in all this stuff. Yeah, you know who you are. Thank you. I'll publicly thank you again, all right, for getting me out of that mess. And by the way, I'd grown up in several different religions, okay? When I was born, my parents were Jehovah's Witnesses. I think I've told this story before. But my mom, before that, had been a Catholic, and my dad had been Southern Baptist. How did they get together? I don't know. But then they both went into witnesses, and then they had a run-in with the witnesses when I was small, and then we went through a bunch of different religions, and then I went off and studied on my own, and I've looked at everything. I mean, everything. Okay, and so I'm very independent at this point. I'm very well versed. Okay, and uh, I'm not an absolutist by any means, because that's not something any of us can be, as absolutely sure of anything. But my experiences have taught me a lot, and it's like I said, and I'm going to say this one more time. There's a right use of things, and there's a wrong use of things, right? There's a righteous way, and there's a sinful way, all right? Or falling short of the mark is really the way the scriptures put it when they talk about sin, falling short of the mark. A sin can be shooting beyond the mark or falling short of it, okay? Um, so that comes into play, and I'm not going to say any more about it than that. I didn't want this to turn into a into a preaching session. North Korea news, Roy. At this point in time, China's, I think, is on board. Q said that, which is speaking for Trump. I think that's happened. Um, the North Koreans are a CIA puppet regime, and the CIA knows that Trump means business now. And look, again, I go back to this thing with Mike Morell. That was today or yesterday, whenever it happened. That was a real indicator that Trump has basically put at least a half Nelson on the CIA. At least he's bombed the hell out of their drug facilities, cleaned up ISIS, gone after the North Koreans, and he's right on the tail of all of their operatives: Mike Morell, Hayden, Clapper, Brennan, Mudd, the MSM. Remember, I've said how many times? The MSM equals the CIA. What is Trump constantly doing? MSM, you're fake news. You're fake news. He won't take it to the next step. I just love it if he would, but I can kind of understand the politics of it. He's really saying, MSM, you are the CIA. Okay? There is a article on Zero Hedge where CIA Mike says he didn't think things through. Right. Exactly, Marlene. That's exactly right. Zero Hedge is one of the first ones to report it, I think, but it's in other places now. And that's right. What that is it's a soft pedal back, because his colleagues in the CIA, I guarantee you right now, are seething. They're salivating. They want to get their teeth into Michael Morell right now. I wouldn't doubt if he needs Secret Service protection at this point. Even if he isn't serious, just the way he came out and said that and admitted that this thing's been going on publicly has endangered him. So, pretty significant. That's why I say this is a big thing. This is a very big thing. Yeah, well, selling our ports is like selling everything else of Americans. They're trying to destroy the United States. They don't like the principles of the Constitution: freedom, liberty, uh, free market, all of that. They're against all that. Okay, looks like this thing's skipping around a little bit. Yeah, Office of the Inspector General, OIG. Okay, well, folks, it's been a long time. Knew the channel Roy is a good guy and a patriot. Thumbs up. Oh, hey, thanks. I appreciate that. Okay, yeah, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. Let's see what this says here. Doug Jones wins Alabama. Well, yeah, Soros struck again. See what I mean? The American people, they've lost. I mean, when was the last time that they taught the American constitutional government in a civics class in high school? I don't know. I know I had it when I was in high school, but I've watched my kids and other families and things, and they don't know what they have. They teach them about China and the Communist Revolution, about Mao Zedong and Che Guevara, and et cetera, et cetera. They don't tell us about what our forefathers, our parents, our great grandparents did to try to set up a place where our freedom, our liberty was so important and guarded. They've lost that. They think it's the handout from the government now. So Obama and all of his cohorts, going back to President Johnson, even FDR, they've set this thing up. They fell right into the hands of the evil ones, the Satanists. And now they want to kill our kids and us. Okay. VP, Vice President is? VP, I'm not sure what. Of course, I don't know. Of course you know it's Pence, right? You must be asking another question. I'm sorry, I must have missed that. Psychological operations in Alabama. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I didn't watch it that close. I knew it was going to be a problem, but I didn't watch it that close. Pompeo, another one I'm not sure about. Apparently he started to clean out some aspects of the CIA, but publicly, and I realize that publicly they can't say things that maybe we want to hear, but he's another one I can't say I trust him all the way. I certainly trust him more than Brennan, or even Petraeus, but I don't know. At this point, it's by their fruits we'll know them, I think, is basically what it's going to be. Okay. Like I say, we've been going on here for a little while now, so maybe we ought to just drop it. I'd get into the Jesus being a Jew thing, but it's too late now. There is a difference between. I'll say this much, and I've gotten some flack from it, but I know it's a fact. The rabbinical Talmudic Judaism and the people that set that up around the time of the Council of Yavna after the destruction of the Second Temple, and the people that set up Quranic Islam are basically the same people. And I'm just going to leave it at that. There's a problem in my mind, as most people probably know. I've talked about it before. It's a little odd to me that they picked the name Israel for the place where supposedly the Jews are. Well, the Jews are only if they're Judahites, and that's really what they were, Judahites. Okay, Jews became a different term a little later on, but the Judahites are a tribe, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And so to call that place Israel when only one tribe is represented, there's a problem in my mind with that. And I won't get into any detail on it here, other than to say one more time that Rabbinic Talmudic Judaism and Quranic Islam are basically two sides of the same coin. If you compare the things that are said in the Talmud with the things that are said in Islam, I mean, it's almost side by side. It's crazy. Okay, and it's a problem. And as I said, Islam is an enemy of liberty and of mankind. Absolutely it is. They'll probably censor this now that I said that, but I've said it before. And if they cut me off, you know what's really good about that? I do this, of course, because I feel like I have to kind of pay back for all those years I worked for the U.S. Army and did some of those things. I won't go into any detail of that, but the point is that I don't want to be silent, because silence is agreement, right? So, I'm here and I'm talking about these things. You'll notice I don't get paid on my channel. I don't have pay. No, there's nothing wrong with getting paid for this. People like Tracy Beans, Jordan Sather. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but for me, it was an unloading of bad karma. So I don't have those pay things here, right? All right, so, I'll just leave it at that. All right, let's see. Obama should be an indicted felon. Yeah, he should be. Okay. Yeah, I think we're done, right? You guys are probably tired, and so am I. Thanks for coming. I don't know when I'll be able to get up a regular presentation like I normally do, when I get my tie on and all that. And this, photo gray background I know is boring, but it helps in the lighting and in the color for the camera that doesn't have the adjustments, that you should use if, you want a good picture. I hope the sound's okay. Apparently it has been. I guess we've been doing really well. So thanks everybody for coming, and hopefully you enjoyed that. Maybe I should do it. Do you guys watch Monograph? He does his little chatty doos and his story times, and he has his drink, and something to eat. He makes a party out of it. Maybe we should try that sometime. I don't know. Maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe we'll do something like that. I like Monograph. He's done some excellent work. Okay, thanks for coming. I hope you all have a great night. And I'm going to say it probably all the time now. I hope it doesn't sound repetitious, but Merry Christmas to you and yours. And if you're not Christian, if you don't like Christmas, that's okay. Have a happy, wonderful holiday season. Okay, I'll do it both ways because I'm not dogmatic. I don't expect anybody to see things the way I do. As a matter of fact, if you did, I think we'd be in trouble. All right, we'll see you later out here.